Hi everybody, and welcome to the last lockdown cook along for March. Today we are going to be doing pakoras or onion bhajis and fish pakoras using vegetables, and we are going to be serving that with the raita. Hang on, I'm going to just check this connection and then see if you're ready. Yeah, so the connection seems to be working. I seem to be getting better at this. So yes, welcome everybody. We're going to start doing pakoras today. So many of you like the onion bhaji session that you said, can we do some more of it? So what we will do today is we'll do fish pakoras, which are quite unusual. You can substitute this with chicken, and I'll show you how to do some vegetable pakoras as well. The thing is that pakoras, in India or in the subcontinent, thank you, I've got a drink as well, so I'm going to pour this out. In the subcontinent, pakoras are an anytime snack. So if you've got nothing in the house and somebody drops in, you usually give them pakoras. They're great with a cup of chai, they're great in winter, they're great in summer, they're great with a drink. So it's just one of those fabulous things that you can churn up with not much experience and obviously not many ingredients. They're store-covered ingredients, whatever you've got left at home, potatoes, onions, if you've got fish, if you've got eggs, we make pakoras out of anything. It's also, I think pakoras are great because for me or for most of us, they're memories of holidays, they're memories of rainy afternoons, they're of time when you're feeling sad. There's nothing that will cheer you up like some pakoras and a cup of chai. When you've got friends over, again, that's something you can wrestle over. So hopefully, I'll first go through the ingredients, and what I'm going to do is show you a selection of pakoras and the technique. So it's not really important what you're actually putting into it. How do you get a perfect onion bhaji? And I have told you this story many times before, that when I moved to the UK, I was very homesick, and my friend took me out for a meal up in Derby, and the only thing I recognized from that menu were actually onion bhajis or onion pakoras, and I ordered them, and I was absolutely scarred for life because they were huge, stodgy golf ball like round circles, and it really wasn't anything that I was familiar with, whereas in India they're lovely and crisp. Now there are different ways of making the batter, but let's go through the ingredient list. And I have used some of our MK spices, but what I've also done is kept a selection so that if you don't have the spices, you can use pretty much everything. So what are the ingredients? I've got fish here because I said fish pakoras, and some of you wanted fish dishes. You can even make this like fish tikka. So I've got fish, it's firm white fish cut into cubes. I've got 2 lots of onions, so I've got white Spanish onions, and I've got red onions. The red ones are cut literally in circles like that, and the white ones I've put in really fine sort of slices, because that one we'll use as an accompaniment. I've got aubergines here, and what I've done with the aubergine is cut it into a circle. They're about 1 centimeter thick. You don't want them too thin, because you do want to be able to taste that lovely soft buttery aubergine. And then I've just put some salt in it. You do not have to salt your aubergine. This is a myth, because in olden days aubergine used to be bitter. You needed to put salt in it to draw out the bitterness. Now aubergines do not need to be salted. However, the only reason I've put salt in it because I cut it a little while ago and I didn't want it to turn black. So which is why I've put the salt. So there's no reason to salt your aubergines. I've got here sweet potato. You can have normal potato, but I've got sweet potato, and what I've done is I've just cut them into slices. And then on the list, for those of you who are following it, I said butternut squash. You can pretty much cut the butternut squash like that as well. If you've got cauliflower, it doesn't really matter what vegetables you've got. As long as you've got your vegetables cut and ready, we are ready to do pakoras. You can make chicken pakoras as well. Now there are 2 techniques of making pakoras, so I'll talk about that, but let's talk about the main ingredients. Now pakoras, surprisingly, are gluten-free because what you don't really use flour. You use chickpea flour or you use gram flour. So here I've got gram flour, and then this is optional, but this is rice flour. And if you put some rice flour into the gram flour, what it does, it turns the rice gives it that lovely little nutty kind of texture, and it makes it even more crisp. So I've got that. I've got a little bit of green chilies here, yogurt for our raita or the accompanying dip, lots of coriander, lemon juice, water. And in terms of spices, now there were two things that I said. If we have our magic MK cookery kit, and if you haven't gone through all of it, the two things that you use are the onion bhaji masala, which I am going to see if I've got it out somewhere here. I've taken it out here. Yeah. So there's onion bhaji masala here, which is ready prepared. But if you don't have that, we can still spice up our pakoras. I've got chili masala again from that. I've got, in terms of other spices, and again, if you're using the MK spice mix, you don't need any of that. I've got Nigella seeds, which are also known as kalonji or onion seeds in India, and then there are these little black little seeds. And I have got ajwain or carom seeds, and this is very sort of astringent and aniseedy. It's great for digestion, and it sometimes uses a mouth freshener, and it's sort of quite sharp and peppery, and it's really, really, really nice, because what it does, it gives you bursts of flavors in there. So that's what I've pretty much got in terms of ingredients. Now, coming to making pakoras, there are 2-3 different ways of making it, and I will show you both the ways. So the one way of making it is making the batter, and then dipping your vegetables in the batter and frying it. So let's first make the batter. So here I've got my bowl. Let me find the spoon from somewhere. And I'm going to put the gram flour into this. So let me put in here about 1/4 cup of gram flour. Now you're going to say, what are the exact measurements? Now sadly, this is pretty much eyeballing it. So we've got to get the batter, and we'll talk about the batter consistency. The batter's got to be a dipping batter, but it's almost like a pancake batter, slightly thick dipping batter. So not something that will go off, but not too thick, so otherwise you just have this huge coating and it won't be crispy enough. So I've put about 1/2 cup of gram flour, and then I'm going to put about 3 heaped teaspoons of rice flour. So about 1/4, 1/3 of gram flour to rice flour. So you've got that here, yeah. And then the next thing which I'll do, so I'm going to make it 2 ways. One way I'm going to use it using our spice masala, and the other way I'm going to use making just not using our spice masala. So this one, I'll just flavor it as it is. So got that, put a bit of salt in it. So your pakoras really need to be, properly salty. So put that in. In terms of the whole spices, I will put about 1/2 teaspoon of Nigella seeds in there, and I'll put 1/2 teaspoon of ajwain or carom seeds in there. You could even put whole coriander seeds. The idea is that it comes into your mouth and it gives you a burst of flavor. So we've got that in there. Yeah. I do need to put some turmeric powder, and I don't think I've got any turmeric powder. Oh no, actually I do, sorry, I'm telling a lie. So I'm going to open my spice kit, and I put some turmeric powder in here. So again, put 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder in there. So this is all the dry flavored ingredients. In lots of houses you'll find that you will mix this up, and you've kept this almost like a pakora mix, and it's ready to go. So salt, turmeric, Nigella seeds, some chili powder. So again, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. And that's all mixed up, and you can actually keep this as a really handy kind of even sprinkling to put on things like if you're making okra, because what it'll do, it'll take out that sliminess and make it lovely and crisp. So that's there. And then into that I'll start putting the wet ingredients. So I will now put about 1 tablespoon of coriander leaves, because I love coriander leaves. Yeah. And I'll put a teeny bit of green chilies, almost like 1/2 a green chili. So that goes in. So So that's this all ready to go. And then the next thing we'll now do is do the batter. Now this is where, again, this is cold water, and this is where you've got to do it, as they say, there's this wonderful Indian word called andaz, which means estimate. And you can use it in lots of ways. You can say kya andaz hai, which actually means, he or she's got a good estimate, but it also says it's got style. So it's all about estimation and brinkmanship. So it's got this wonderful connotation. So this is where you use your andaz. And I'm going to start I'll probably put about 2 tablespoons of water into this and start mixing this up. And hopefully if you're doing that, that's what you do. So it'll start off, you can see this is started off as a pretty stodgy paste. Another 2 tablespoons. So what you don't want to do is put so much water and then you'll end up in this huge puddle. So again, I'm mixing that up. And you can see this has now become a paste. Now this paste is also fantastic because you can use this paste and smear it on things like chicken and fish, prawns, and then put it on a barbecue. I mean, that's another way of doing that. But since we're making pakoras, I will stick to that. Put some more water. And it's almost got to where it is. It's still a bit too thick. So this is, it's at the moment it's like mushy porridge. And then we put a little bit more. So I think all in all, I put about half a cup of water into that. And it's probably getting to where I want it. So as I said, it shouldn't be too thick. The nice thing about gram flour, unlike flour, is it dissolves quite nicely. So, make sure there are no lumps, but it's a very easy mix. And you can see I can pour this out, and it's and I haven't used any of our spicing, but all I've done is I put nigella seeds in it and I put carom seeds in it. If you're using the MK mix, you can use the onion bhaji masala and put that in because that's already got all the stuff in it. But I wanted to show it to you in both ways. So this is the first way of making pakora batter. So you make this batter and you can see, and we'll keep this ready. So that's the first way of making pakoras, and what we will then do is take one of these things and we'll dip that in, and you'll see we'll fry it and it'll coat and it will turn into these wonderful crispy pakoras that will make you forget all your woes. The second way of making pakoras is actually putting the gram flour mix and everything into the fish. Now I've got quite a lot of water that's come out because I put lemon juice in it, so I'm going to take this, just throw the water out. And if you've got fish and you've marinated it with lemon juice, all we've done is lemon juice and salt. So this is the cubes. I've got about 6 cubes of fish, which is cut into, for any firm white fish. You can even use prawns, you can use chicken, so that's done. Of course with chicken your cooking time increases, but any fish. So I've got that, and this is where I'm going to use my hands a little bit. And into this I will start, so the same ingredients that we put into this batter, we are going to put into this directly. So we are not putting any water because we are using the moisture from the fish to actually turn that into this lovely batter. So first thing is gram flour. So I'm going to put about 2, again you don't want too much, 3 heaped teaspoons of gram flour. I'm putting 1 teaspoon of rice flour, salt. So it's literally the same ingredients that we put into the other one. If I could find my salt, which seemed to have done a book about it. So here is my salt. Salt. And then what I'm going to do is this one. I'll show you the one that we've got the mix. So this is our onion bhaji masala mix, and I will just put that in, just to put it in directly so that you can. So this is the MK onion bhaji masala mix, and let me use a spoon because again too much andaz is not good. And I'm putting literally 1 teaspoon of it. This has already got all the spicing in it, so I'm not putting any more spices in it. I could have done exactly the same thing with the other batter, but I've just put this in. And then we have coriander and a little bit of turmeric again. So if I have my turmeric, find a spoon, put. As I said, this is, pakoras are, they're quite therapeutic, they're fab to eat, and I know they're not the easiest on the waistline. However, The secret to frying pakoras, I'll tell you, it's all in the oil, because you can actually control the amount of oil the pakoras take in. But the thing about the pakoras is that you can make it, because it's gluten free, and because it's done with, if you do it with fish or something, you can actually have it as part of a no carb diet. So that's my excuse anyway. So you can see I've put all the stuff in there. I might have to put some water in it, but I don't know, because I threw out. And now I'm just using my hands, and I'm very gently mixing it all up. And what you have, so there's no egg in it, so it's almost like doing a dip, but without any egg in it. And if you remember when we did the fish tikka, we did something like this, but we had yogurt in it. This one's got no yogurt. So this is a very dry kind of paste. I'm going to put a teeny bit of, actually I won't even put some lemon juice. So you can see what I've got. So here, this is the fish. I've put all the spices in it. I've put the gram flour, the rice flour, and all that's done is that's actually just completely stuck to it. So, there's bits of rice flour and gram flour stuck to the fish. And if I leave this for about 2 minutes, a little bit more moisture will ooze out, and it will actually coat it even properly. So, as I said, this is literally the same batter that I've made over here. The only difference with this is that this has got no liquid. It's just using the liquid from the fish to use that, and it's a sort of a drier batter. So that's got that. So I've got my 2 lots ready. So I'm going to put the fish on the side, and I'm going to put this batter on the side. I'm just going to wash my hands, and then we'll talk about some of the accompaniments to pakoras. Are there any questions? Are we okay? I stunned everybody into silence. Let's talk about 2 things. So I think the first thing with pakoras is you need some crunch. So you remember the onions that we do all the time. So I've got just normal Spanish onions here, and they are sort of finely sliced. And if you've got our Raita masala, you can put some of our Raita masala in there. I don't have the Raita masala, so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to just put a little bit of vinegar. And again, we've done this before. You could use lemon juice as well, but you should manage to open this then. So this is just normal white vinegar, and I'll put about a teaspoon of white vinegar in there, and some salt. And again, what this will do is this will turn that wonderful pink color and give it that great, and lot of salt, and then you just mix this up. And what this will do is this will just let it sit there and marinate. So you'll get all the flavors of the vinegar and the onion and the salt. It's already smelling quite nice and making my mouth water. If you want it hotter, you can add some green chilies to it. I'll just leave it on the side. So we just leave this now ready. So that's pretty much it. Our prep done. The next thing we do is the raita. Now you can do lots of things. So if you've got your raita masala, all you literally do is I've got Greek yogurt in here. And again, you can do lots of accompaniments to using the same ingredients and by varying what you do with it. So what you can do is you can take your green chili, and you can take your coriander, and you can blend it into a paste. And if you blend it into a paste, you get this green liquid, and then you can just put that into the yogurt and make it that, that pale green kind of yogurt that you get when you go to an Indian restaurant and they serve that. That and pickled onions is what they give you, which is pretty much what we are doing. I'm not really blending it, I'm just bunging in the whole lot of coriander into this, because we love the taste of fresh coriander in this house. So I'm putting that in. If you've got your raita masala, put that in. As I said, I don't have raita masala, but you can put mint in there. I'm putting some salt into this, and a little bit of our chili powder, the MK chili powder. And again, this is a quarter of a teaspoon. And that is literally my sauce done, because again, in this house, everybody just loves it like that. So if you mix it up, it's got coriander, and you can even add onions to it. You can add chilies to it, but and if you've got the raita masala, fresh mint to it. So that's pretty much that, and I'll get that out of the way in 1 second. Perfect. You can even add cucumber. So that's there. Let me cut that out. So that's our raita done. So just to recap, our raita is done. which has literally taken a few minutes or few seconds. My onions are sitting here in this vinegar, and it's slowly, as I said, it smells lovely. So that's all done. All my vegetables are now cut. One lot of batter is done for me to dip the pakoras in, and the fish is ready. So now what I'll do is I'll switch that across there, and then we'll talk about the oil and controlling how is it that you can turn these pakoras into these wonderful crispy light things, or they can turn into a soggy mess, and all of that actually depends on how you control the oil. So let me switch that off and move on to the other side. So here you can see I've got my wok in here, and I'm going to put the oil. I'm going to put the fire on. Now the secret to perfect pakoras is all in the temperature of the oil that you do. If your oil is too hot, what it will do is it'll make sure that the outside of the pakoras burn and the inside of the pakoras are raw. If your oil is too cold, your pakoras, it will start absorbing oil and it'll start getting really, really soggy. So yes, so you need to make sure that you really control the temperature of the pakoras. So now let's get, so my oil now, I've put the oil on at quite a high heat, because what you want to do is you want to get the oil down to up to a smoking point, and then once it's come to a smoking point, you then reduce it down and you can cook it, it cooks, and then you can control it, because if you find it's browning too much, you can reduce it. I'm using a cast iron wok because I love the cast iron woks, and what it does is it controls it, so it gives it this lovely even sort of heat. If you don't use a cast iron wok, you can even use a frying pan like that. This is an ordinary non-stick frying pan, and then you can shallow fry it. I don't, you can fill this up and deep fry it, but I've got about half an inch of oil in here, so it won't cook. Some things will dip in, some things won't, but I'll use the same oil. And what I'll do is we'll do the vegetarian pakoras first, and then once that's done and that's taken out, I'll do the fish pakora in the same oil so that it doesn't smell. So the oil is going on, which is, and hopefully if you're cooking along, just make sure that you've got your oil on there. I'll get a plate ready. So what I'll do is I will put this there. So I've got a plate ready to serve the pakora, and I'll just move out everything else. So hopefully you've got your batter ready as well, and then you've got your fish or chicken. You can even use things like boiled chicken, but then you've just got to be careful that it doesn't turn tasteless and you're not overcooking something. And what you can do with pakoras is you can double fry them. It's a bit like double fried chips. So you can half cook them and keep them, and then when your guests come in, you just heat up your oil or your fryer, and then you just give it another dip, and then it's lovely and crispy. We get lots of requests to make pakoras and say, can we have it as a takeaway? And I refuse every time, not because I don't like people, but because I think that pakoras really need to come off the hob and you need to eat it straight away. Soggy cold pakoras do not stay. Heating them up in a microwave is of course a no-no. You can try it in an oven, but double frying is probably the only thing which makes it crispy. So which is why, when we do lots of catered events, we say we'll do you pakoras, but then we will fry it and serve it up there. We never ever keep our pakoras. And also you'll see how little of the besan or the gram flour that we use. So normally when you buy shop bought or commercial pakoras here, you'll find you're just eating the besan or the gram flour, the chickpea flour, and it's stodgy. Whereas here you're actually tasting what the vegetable is. Now this is got quite hot, and I will obviously start off with the vegetable ones. So let's start off with onions. So what I've got is, let me get the batter. So I've got the batter here, and hopefully you can see this batter. It's here. And let's start off with one of each. So I've got onions in here. Okay, so I've got onions in here, and what I've done with these onions is I've kept them as roundels, okay? So that's what I've done. So I've not taken them. Last time when we made pakoras, we actually had onion slices and we mixed it up and then we used that. This is different. So I'm literally taking one roundel and I'm dipping that in here. And then why don't I put an aubergine in there as well? And you can do this and keep this, and then I'll take the potatoes. And what you do is when you fry it is you lift it up, okay? Don't let it, so lift it up and then put that in. And then now I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit, because what I don't want is I want it to cook but not, but you can see the oil is hot enough, and because this is a cast iron pan, it will retain the heat if I put the temperature down. So that's the onion that's gone in. You can make, as I said, you can make this a bit thinner, but I like my aubergines a bit. Be careful you don't fry your fingers. We once had somebody who had very long nails, and then when she was putting it in, but don't try and put it right from the surface, because if you do, you'll just end up with a lot of oil splattering all over the place. So that's the first lot of the vegetables that I'm putting. I've reduced the heat down a little bit. Just wipe my hands a bit. And this is how you actually control that your pakoras turn out crispy. Because if you, as I said, if your oil is not hot enough, what you'll do is you'll end up with really soggy pakoras. And you can see I haven't done anything to it. I haven't touched it. I haven't done anything. And you can see this, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the outside crisp and the inside cooked. And if I was in very high heat, the sweet potatoes would have not cooked, the aubergine would have not cooked, the onions would have not become soft. So as I said, you see, and it's puffing up, it's turning slowly, it's turning golden brown. But now if you found that the heat was not high enough, as I said, they would start getting soggy. But it's also not that high that if you touch it, I'm going to keep quiet, you can see, you can actually hear this. So there, you can almost taste the sound. So, and you can see I've not really wasted too much. And I'm going to now reduce the heat a little bit, because what you want to do is you want to let it cook. The inside cook, because when you open it, you don't want hard aubergine in there. So once that's done, and while that's happening, let me show you what the fish looks like. So here's the fish, as you can see. It's got the marinade on it. It's got lemon juice, and again the same thing, but it's using that same the same set of ingredients, the same batter, but just varying the amount of water and turning it into different textures. And these are floating, so you can see how lovely and floaty they are. And I've given them a good 3-4 minutes, and hopefully, obviously the onions will cook faster, but what you don't want is uncooked sweet potato. As I said, you can use potatoes, you can use cauliflower, you can use butternut squash, you can use whatever vegetables you've got. If you've got okra is fabulous. People do Palak Pakoras where you take individual baby leaf spinach and you just dip it in and you fry it, and that's Palak Pakora. So this is different, as I said, from the onion bhajis we did last time, because in that we mixed it all up and then we just put, we made drops of it. But this, we've kept that. And you can see, you'll see how non-greasy they will be, because, so I think now the inside's done, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the heat a little bit just to give it the correct color. And you can see the onions are turning, and they're all stacked together. So this is an onion roundel. This is the sweet potato. I've separated that out. It's almost done. keep the vegetables all ready and prepped. You can keep the batter prepped. If you were going to double fry them, I would have taken them out about 3-4 minutes before and kept it out. So you've cooked it and kept it, and then heated the oil up really, really high, and then just put it in, make sure it all comes back to temperature. You've got the coating crisp, and then served it instantly. So there you go. I think these are done. You can see the nigella seeds that are flecked on it. You can see the carom seeds, which you can't see, but you can see there's bits of coriander. Some people put semolina, which is quite nice. You can even put some polenta if you want that. So there's no, it's all sort of only bounded by your imagination. But the main thing is, you've seen, if the batter was too thin, everything would have gone all over the place. The batter was too thick, it would have been stodgy. But you can see it's all keeping together. And you can see it. If you look at the aubergine, you can see that you can see the actual thing. Okay, so I will now take this out. Let's start with the sweet potatoes. Goes out here. Using a slotted spoon, comes out. And then now what I'll do is we'll put the fish in. I'll use the same spoon. So here's the fish, and I'm literally, the fish doesn't take very long to cook. So I'm just putting that in, and I'm reducing the heat again. If you wanted to do a tikka like we spoke about last time, you could also put it into the air fryer with a little bit of oil. If you didn't want to deep fry, and you would have ended up with fish tikka. But since we said pakoras and we promised pakoras it is going to be. Fish literally takes a few minutes to cook. But I'm going to increase the heat there, because again you don't want it to. And what you want to do is the coating to, and I put some oil coming on the top. So what you want is the coating to stick to it, and you don't want the coating to go all over. But I haven't put so much coating that you'll end up with, almost like batter fried fish with a thick coating, and you've got to sort of go through 3 inches to get to the fish. This is pretty much a fried fish, and it's got a little bit of coating outside. The main thing is, do not disturb it too much till the coating is actually solidified, because that way you know that you won't lose the coating in the oil. The fish is pretty much done now. I'm just waiting for the coating to. And as I said, if you wanted it, you could put it in the air fryer, you could bake it. As I said, we spoke about fish pakoras, so fish pakoras is good. You can even do this with hard-boiled eggs. I mean, egg pakoras are again one of life's pleasures. Just slice the egg in half and then dip it in the batter, or just put the batter on top, put it face down. My mother makes this wonderful capsicum or pepper pakora. So what she does is she takes small little green pepper, she scoops out the inside, she fills it up with stuffing, then she puts a layer of this batter on top, and she puts it down and she fries it, and the top seals it. And then when you break into it, you get this beautifully cooked green pepper, which it might have keema or lamb in it. It might have potatoes in it. Okay, the fish is now really done, so I'll start taking that out. As I said, all you want is a thin little coating on it. You don't really want it to have a stodgy kind of thing, and you can't see what's inside it. You've got people over for drinks, stick a little toothpick on it, and then just serve that. You can do paneer pakoras, you can do chili, you can take whole chilies and dip it in. So it's only limited by your imagination. So that's all done. Let's just that off. Perfect. Don't lose. If you've got any crispy bits, keep it. They're the best bits. It's sort of the chef's privilege. Put that in. Okay. What I'll do now is I'll transfer the camera to the other side and then we'll plate up. So, there we go. Let me get the plate of pakoras out. So here I am back with this plate of fabulous pakoras, which I'm going to first put here. And then we're going to do it in two lots. So we'll do the vegetable ones on one side and we'll do the fish ones on the other side. So you can see, so these are my onions here. I've got lemon here. So first let's do the vegetable pakoras. So that's got the onion pakoras. That's the sweet potato, the onion one. If you've got some of the Raita masala, you can just sprinkle it on top. If you've got chaat masala, which is like an Indian mixture of dried mango and things, you can put all of that in. Otherwise, you just put, that's your pakoras. And what we'll do is this one we will serve with some dip. So I've got, if you have green chutney, you could even put green chutney. But I'm putting that. That goes in. So that's your first lot. So that's your vegetable pakoras all done with the dip. I will try one. So I'm going to take the sweet potato one, dip it in and see what it's like. The sweet potato is all cooked. I don't know if you can hear the crunch. It's beautifully cooked inside. It's got the coating and you can see the coating sort of, it's on top. Absolutely heaven. Okay, cheers you up. So that's the first one, and let's do the fish one. So here's my plate. For the fish, I'm going to put some onions on the side because you can serve this even as little starters, in little bowls. You've got lemon. This is almost like an Indian style fish and chips like we did, but with fried fish, but different. So it's not the batter fried fish. So I've got all of that in, and then let's get some fish out. And you can see that I did put batter, but it's just so light. You can taste the fish without having it coated by, hundreds of different things. But the spicing is there, and it's absolutely. There we've got that. Let me see if I can find some chili powder. And there you have it. One of life's greatest pleasures with not much fuss. Fish pakoras, onion pakoras. So the next time you've got visitors, and especially if you've got lockdown lifting and you can have your 6 friends over, just see whatever's there, whatever's growing, whatever's in season, pick it up, get your batter ready and just get your pakoras cooking. I'm going to try a little bit of the fish because it would be, I'll find the spoon. So I usually need a fork, but I just cut the fish in and you can see. I don't know whether you can see the inside, but you can see it's absolutely soft and flaky and very, very moist. It's not dried up. So there you go, a little bit of that. The fish is crunchy outside, but the inside is like butter. It absolutely is just melting into your mouth. Yeah. Amazing. Let me show you the inside of the aubergine. So, if you look at the aubergine, if you look at it inside, you'll see it's almost like butter inside. Yeah. So that's it. Easy peasy pakoras. You should have no excuse to not make them. Hope you've enjoyed the session. Next week we've got 4 new recipes coming up. I spent a lot of time thinking about what you said. They should be on the website. If they're not already there, then just give me a shout. But I think we've got all of April up there. We've got cook-alongs happening for April, and then if you really do enjoy it, then we'll carry on for May. But as of now, we've got the April ones up, and we've got some really fun recipes. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and this will go up on Insta Live. So what you can do is log on later on when I haven't gone through, rattle my way through it, and you can make some fabulous pakoras for the weekend. So enjoy the sunshine, and thanks guys. Bye.